Hi guys, how are you?
Good. How
Hey,
you
good.
doing,
How are
AJ?
you?
Yeah, you both look great. How's quarantine going?
Surviving,
Never dull.
you know? Uh-oh.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we kind of lost your video, but
Uh-oh.
there you go. Now you're
Now we
back.
got you.
Okay, perfect. Pete, I love this movie so much. You're so wonderfully shady without knowing it. And talk about the moment you learned what shade was.
Well, I mean, I started throwing shade, probably the day after I left the White House, but I didn't know it was called throwing shade. Like I knew what I was doing, I just didn't know it was called shade. And actually, the very first post that I made on Instagram on January 21st, 2017, somebody had a comment that said something like, Pete is throwing shade with a comment on drapes. And I was like, what does he mean by that?
And now you're a master shade. You're a master shade assassin, as we call it.
I like that shade assassin. I think I'm going to use that.
No, yeah, that's you now. Laura, talk about your fandom for Pete and how you kind of connected with him.
Listen, you can't ignore the shade assassin. Let's be clear. So not only was I such an admirer of the gift he's given this country with how he has archived the role of presidency and two administrations from both parties, but that he has captured empathy in a way that I had never seen, so that I never get to forget it. And that's one of the most profound gifts as a citizen of this country that I've ever been given. And I am forever indebted to him. And it is why myself and Jamie Lemons and Evan Hayes begged Pete to let us help archive the story of what he's given us, particularly in and around a time that we get to use our voice through voting.
Amazing. And Pete, you got to work with Laura a little bit, who's such a now an iconic actress. If you were making this film, let's say, acting per se, who would you think to play Mr. Pete? And I'm sure Laura, you can weigh in as well. An amazing
Probably
actor who would
George
play Pete.
Clooney, no, Pete?
Well, what's really funny is some of my friends who have seen the old video of me with Reagan said that I looked like Keith Hernandez, the former baseball player for the New York Mets. But I'd take George Clooney. Yeah.
Yeah, I think George is set already. So
Yeah,
we
it's
should.
pretty solid choice. Um, Lastly, Pete, and this is going to for you. What are your hopes for this election year and how this plays out? What are you
Well,
looking?
my hope for the election year is that we have the biggest turnout in history, despite this pandemic that's going on, and it's clear that we're going to have so many people voting, and that people
Even voting twice. Sorry.
and that many people are going to be voting by mail for the first time, and I would encourage everybody to send your ballot back as early as possible. Or in I live in Madison, Wisconsin. We're going to have drop boxes around town, another safe way to deliver your ballot, or to return it directly to the city clerk early. So I just want everybody to get out and let your voice be heard. To paraphrase my former boss, it's a two-step process. Getting out and protesting is great. Let your voices be heard. But the next step is, if you want institutional change, you've got to do it at the ballot box and elect the leaders that are going to help bring that change about. And that's not just the presidency, but at the local level as well.